That station smelled like rust and old fuel. It was the kind of place where broken things came to die. Ships that could barely fly. Machines that sparked and groaned. People who had nowhere else to go. Kira knew this smell well. She had lived with it for 3 years. She was small, even for a Dralith. Her scales, which should have been black and shining like polished stone, were dull and gray from hunger. Her wings were folded tight against her back, too weak to carry her far. She was 12 cycles old, but she looked younger. Hunger did that. The lower cargo bays were her home now. She slept behind fuel containers and ate whatever she could find. Sometimes traders dropped food. Sometimes she stole it. She was not proud, but pride did not fill an empty stomach. Today, Kira sat in her usual hiding spot, watching the docking platforms through a gap in the containers. Ships came and went. Most were ugly things, patched together and barely holding. But she watched them anyway. It was something to do. Then she saw it. The ship came through the docking gate slowly, like it was in no hurry. It was old, but it was clean. Its hull was dark gray with lines of white along the edges. The metal was scratched and dented in places, but someone had taken care of it. Someone had loved this ship. Kira's breath caught in her throat. On the side of the ship, she could see an emblem. A circle with a star inside and wings spreading out from both sides. She knew that symbol. She had seen it before, long ago, when she was small and safe and her father was still alive. The Terran Frontier Course. The ship was called the Adamant Vigil. The name was painted in white letters near the front. Kira read it slowly, her lips moving without sound. Her chest hurt. Not from hunger this time, but from something deeper. My father once piloted one like this, she whispered. No one heard her. No one ever did. The ship finished docking, and the ramp lowered with a hiss of steam. Kira pressed herself further into the shadows and watched. Humans came out first. There were 5 of them, laughing and talking in their loud voices. Humans were always loud. Her father used to say it was because their ears were small and weak, so they had to shout to hear each other. He would smile when he said it. The memory hurt. The humans spread out across the platform, stretching their arms and legs after the long flight. One of them, a woman with dark skin and short hair, was giving orders. She pointed at different parts of the ship, and the others nodded and went to work. Then another human came down the ramp. This one was different. He was older than the others, with gray in his hair and lines on his face. He moved slowly, but not because he was weak. He moved like someone who had learned that rushing led to mistakes. His eyes scanned the platform, taking in everything. Kira held very still. The man's eyes passed over her hiding spot and kept moving. Then they stopped. They came back. He was looking right at her. Kira's heart beat fast. She wanted to run, but her legs would not move. She had learned that running sometimes made things worse. Sometimes it was better to be still and hope they looked away. The man did not look away. A dock worker walked past, a big alien with 4 arms and rough green skin. He saw Kira crouching there and made a sound of disgust. His foot swung out and caught her in the side, knocking her into the open. "Get out of here, pest," the dock worker growled. "No beggars near the good ships." Kira scrambled to her feet. Her side hurt where he had kicked her, but she did not cry. She had learned not to cry long ago. Crying did not help. It only made them kick harder. She ran. She did not stop until she reached the deeper levels, where the lights flickered and the air tasted stale. Her usual hiding spot. Safe. Dark. Alone. She curled up against the cold metal wall and wrapped her arms around her knees. Her wings trembled against her back. She thought about the ship. The Adamant Vigil. The symbol on its hull. Her father had worn that symbol on his jacket. She remembered touching it when she was very young, tracing the lines of the wings with her small claws. What does it mean? She had asked him. It means I fly with humans now, he had told her. It means I am part of their pack. Do humans have packs? He had laughed, a warm rumbling sound deep in his chest. They call them crews. But yes, little star, they have packs, and they are very loyal to them. Kira pressed her face against her knees. The memory was too bright, too warm. It made the cold around her feel worse. Thought her father was dead. He had been dead for 3 years. The hegemony had sent hunters after him, and they had found him, and they had killed him. Kira had hidden in a closet and listened to it happen. She had not made a sound. After that, there was no one. Her mother had died when Kira was born. Her father had no other family. She was alone. She had traveled from station to station, hiding in cargo holds and stealing food. She had learned to be invisible. She had learned that no one helped a homeless dragonling. The galaxy was too big and too hard for kindness, but still, she remembered the ship. She remembered the symbol. She remembered her father's voice when he talked about the humans he flew with. They are strange creatures, he had said once. They are loud and messy, and they do not live very long. But they have something, little star. Something I have not seen in other species. What is it? She had asked. He had thought for a long moment before answering. They do not give up, he said finally. Even when they should. Even when it is foolish. They keep fighting. They keep hoping. It is maddening sometimes, but it is also beautiful. Kira fell asleep against the cold wall, dreaming of ships and stars and a father who was never coming back. When she woke, there was a ration pack sitting in front of her. She stared at it. It was a human ration pack with Terran writing on the wrapper. It was sealed and clean and full of food. Kira looked around. The corridor was empty. She could hear the distant hum of the station's machinery, but nothing else. No footsteps. No voices. Someone had found her hiding spot. Someone had left her food. She should have been afraid. She should have run. Instead, she tore open the pack and ate until her stomach hurt. It was the best meal she had eaten in months. The ration packs kept appearing. Every morning for 3 days, Kira woke to find food waiting for her. Always in the same spot. Always sealed and fresh. Someone was watching her. Someone knew where she slept. On the first day, she ate the food and moved to a new hiding place. The next morning, the food was there too. On the second day, she stayed awake all night, watching. She saw nothing. But when she blinked, just for a moment, the food appeared. On the third day, she gave up trying to understand. She simply ate. On the fourth night, she finally saw him, the human captain, the gray-haired man from the ship. He walked through the lower corridors like he belonged there, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. He carried a ration pack in one hand. Kira pressed herself against the wall, her heart pounding. He stopped a few meters away from her and set the pack on the ground. Then he straightened up and looked at her. "You are hard to find," he said. His voice was calm and low. "But I have been looking for hard-to-find things for a long time." Kira did not speak. She barely breathed. The man sat down on an old crate, moving slowly so he would not scare her. He folded his hands in his lap and looked at her with patient eyes. "My name is Marcus Cole," he said. "I am the captain of the Adamant Vigil. You have been watching my ship." Still, Kira said nothing. "I saw you on the platform," Cole continued. "I saw that dock worker kick you. I wanted to help, but you ran before I could reach you." He paused. "You are fast. That is good. Fast keeps you alive out here." Kira's claws dug into the metal floor. She was ready to run again, but something held her in place. Maybe curiosity. Maybe hunger. Maybe the memory of her father's voice, talking about humans and their strange loyalty. "Why?" she asked. Her voice was rough from not being used. "Why do you bring food?" Cole tilted his head. "Because you are hungry. Because I can. Do I need another reason?" Kira did not know how to answer that. In her experience, everyone needed a reason. No one did anything for free. There was always a price. "What do you want?" she asked. "Nothing," Cole said. "I just wanted to make sure you were eating." He stood up slowly and turned to leave. "The food will keep coming as long as we are docked here. 3 more days. After that, we fly." He took 2 steps. Then he stopped. "That symbol on my ship," he said, not turning around. "You recognized it. I saw it in your eyes. You knew what it meant." Kira's throat tightened. She should stay silent. She should let him walk away. But the words came out before she could stop them. "My father wore that symbol. He was Dralith like me. He flew with humans during the war." Cole turned around. His face had changed. The calm was still there, but something else had joined it. Something sharp and bright like pain or surprise or both. "What was his name?" Cole asked softly. Kira lifted her chin. She was proud of her father, even now. Even after everything. "Vithas Kirshen," she said. "The humans called him Drake." Cole stood very still. For a long moment, he did not speak. He did not move. He just looked at her with those strange human eyes. Then he sat back down on the crate, much harder than before, like his legs had stopped working. "Drake," he said. The word came out like a prayer. "I knew your father." Kira felt the world tilt around her. This was not possible. The galaxy was too big. Too many stars. Too many stations, too many ships. The chances of meeting someone who knew her father were too small to count, but the look on Cole's face was not a lie. She could see the truth in it. "You knew him?" she whispered. Cole nodded slowly. "I served with him. At the siege of Caldera. I was 19 years old, a stupid kid on my first deployment. I did not know anything about war or space or survival." He paused, and his eyes went far away, looking at something she could not see. "The hegemony broke through our defensive line on the 3rd day. My ship was hit. I was floating in the void with a cracked helmet and 10 minutes of air." He stopped. His hands were shaking slightly. "Your father found me," Cole said. "He was flying a patrol in his fighter, and he saw my distress beacon. He should have ignored it. The battle was still happening. Every second he spent saving me was a second he could have been fighting. But he came anyway." Kira felt tears building behind her eyes. She blinked them back. She would not cry. "Not now. He docked with my escape pod and pulled me inside his ship," Cole continued. "He gave me his emergency air supply because mine was almost empty. He flew us both back to the fleet while enemy ships shot at us from every direction." Cole looked at her now, really looked at her. "Your father saved my life. I was 19. I am 47 now. Every year since then has been a gift from him." The tears fell. Kira could not stop them this time. They ran down her dull scales and dripped onto the floor. "He is dead," she said. Her voice broke on the word. "The hegemony killed him. 3 years ago. They sent hunters. He told me to hide, and I hid, and I heard everything." Cole closed his eyes. His face twisted with grief. "I know," he said quietly. "I heard about it. I tried to find out what happened to his family, but the records were sealed. The hegemony did not want anyone to know he had a daughter." He opened his eyes. "I am sorry. I am so sorry I did not find you sooner." They sat in silence for a long time. The station hummed around them. Somewhere far away, a machine coughed and sputtered. Finally, Cole stood up. He walked toward her slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. He stopped 2 steps away and knelt down so their eyes were level. You do not have to stay here, he said. You do not have to live like this. There is a place for you on my ship, if you want it. Kira stared at him. She wanted to believe it. She wanted it so badly that it hurt. Why? She asked again. Why would you do this? Cole smiled. It was a sad smile, but it was real. Because your father saved my life, he said. Because he was my friend. And because no child of his should ever sleep in a cold corridor alone. He held out his hand. Kira looked at it for a long time. A human hand, rough and scarred. A hand attached to a man who had known her father. A man who remembered. She reached out and took it. It was warm. The adamant vigil was bigger on the inside than Kira had expected. The corridors were wide enough for her to spread her wings if she wanted to. The walls were clean. The air tasted fresh, not like the recycled staleness of Veth Station. But the crew did not look happy to see her. There were 12 humans on the ship, and all of them stared when Captain Cole brought her aboard. Some of them smiled, uncertain and awkward. Others frowned. One of them, a tall woman with dark skin and sharp eyes, stepped forward immediately. Captain, she said. Her voice was polite but tight. A word? Cole nodded. Lieutenant Santos, this is Kira. She will be staying with us. Please make sure she has a bunk and clean clothes. Santos looked at Kira. Then she looked back at Cole. Her jaw was tight. Captain. A word. In private. They walked away together, leaving Kira alone with the rest of the crew. She could hear them talking in low voices near the bridge. She could not hear the words, but she understood the meaning. The woman did not want her here. The woman thought she was a problem. The other crew members drifted back to their work. A few of them gave her curious looks. Most of them ignored her. One did not. He was older than the others, with thick arms and oil stains on his hands. His hair was gray and short, and his face was hard. He walked toward her slowly, his boots heavy on the metal floor. Tomas Reyes, he said. Chief Engineer. He did not offer his hand. He did not smile. Kira met his eyes. Kira, I know who you are. His voice was flat. Cole told me. Your father was the dragon from Caldera. Yes, Reyes looked at her for a long moment. Something dark moved behind his eyes. My brother died at Caldera, he said. He was 22 years old. The Dralith were supposed to be our allies. They were supposed to fight beside us. But when the battle turned bad, most of them ran. His hands curled into fists at his sides. Your father stayed. I know that. But the others did not. And my brother is still dead. Kira did not look away. She had learned that looking away was weakness. I'm sorry about your brother, she said. My father talked about Caldera sometimes. He said many good people died there. He said he wished he could have saved more of them. Reyes stared at her. Then he turned and walked away without another word. Kira stood alone in the corridor, her wings pressed tight against her back. She had known this would not be easy. She had known that not everyone would accept her. But knowing something and feeling it were different things. The first week was hard. Santos gave her a small bunk near the engine room, far from the rest of the crew. The bed was comfortable, but Kira barely slept. Every sound made her jump. Every footstep in the corridor made her think someone was coming to throw her out. She tried to stay invisible. She ate in her room. She avoided the common areas. She spoke only when spoken to, but she could not stay invisible forever. On the 5th day, Cole found her in the cargo bay, practicing the old Dralith stretches her father had taught her. Her wings were stronger now. The food and rest were helping. You are getting better, Cole said. Kira folded her wings quickly, embarrassed. I did not know anyone was watching. I was not watching. I was looking for you. He sat down on a cargo crate. The crew tells me you have been hiding. They say you do not talk to anyone. They do not want to talk to me. Have you tried? Kira did not answer. She had not tried. She was afraid of what they would say. Cole sighed. Kira, you cannot live on a ship with 12 people and hide from all of them. That is not how a crew works. He paused. I know it is hard. I know Reyes said something to you. But he's a good man. He's just carrying old pain. Everyone carries old pain, Kira said quietly. It does not give him the right to blame me for what other Dralith did. No, it does not. Cole stood up. But you can show him who you are. You can show all of them. Actions speak louder than words. He left her alone in the cargo bay, thinking. The next day, Kira began looking for ways to help. She started small. The maintenance shafts were too narrow for humans, but she could fit through them easily. She found cracks and leaks that the sensors had missed. She reported them to Reyes, who fixed them without thanking her. She helped in the kitchen, learning to cook the strange human foods. She cleaned when no one asked her to. She carried messages between crew members when they were too busy to leave their stations. Slowly, very slowly, the crew began to notice. Santos stopped frowning at her. One morning, she even nodded at Kira in the corridor. It was not much, but it was something. The younger crew members started talking to her. They asked questions about Drolith culture, about her homeworld, about what it was like to have wings. She answered as best she could, but Reyes still avoided her. He still looked at her with that hard, dark expression. Then, on the 12th day, Kira found the jacket. She was cleaning a storage locker that no one had opened in years. Inside, buried under old equipment, she found a flight jacket. It was worn and faded, but she recognized the symbol on the shoulder, the Frontier Corps emblem, the wings and the star, and on the chest, in neat stitching, a name, Drake. Kira's hands trembled as she lifted the jacket. It smelled like old leather and something else, something she almost remembered. Something like home. Inside the pocket, her fingers found a small metal chip. A holochip. She carried it to her bunk and activated it with shaking hands. Her father's face appeared in the air before her. He was younger in the recording, his scales bright and healthy. He was smiling, but his eyes were sad. If you were seeing this little star, it means I did not come home. Kira pressed her hand over her mouth to keep from crying out. I am sorry, her father continued. I am sorry I could not be there. I am sorry I could not watch you grow. But I need you to know something. I need you to understand why I made the choices I made. He paused. His image flickered slightly. The humans are not like us, he said. They do not live very long. They are not very strong. They cannot fly. But they have something that I have never seen in any other species. They do not fight because they think they will win. They fight because some things are worth losing for. Kira wiped her eyes. Tears were falling again, but she did not care. Find them, little star. Find the humans. They will show you what I could not. They will teach you that hope is not foolish. That loyalty is not weakness. That love is worth the pain it brings. The recording ended. Her father's face disappeared. Kira held the jacket against her chest and cried until she had no tears left. Then she put on the jacket. It was too big for her. It hung past her hands and dragged on the floor. But it was warm. And it smelled like her father. She walked out into the corridor, wearing her father's jacket, and she did not hide anymore. Reyes saw her first. He stopped in the middle of the corridor and stared at the jacket. At the name stitched on the chest, something changed in his face. The hardness cracked, just a little. He kept that jacket, Reyes said slowly. After Caldera. He said it reminded him why he stayed. Kira nodded. She could not speak. Reyes looked at her for a long moment. Then he did something she did not expect. He held out his hand. Welcome to the crew, he said quietly. Kira took his hand. It was rough and warm, like Cole's. She was starting to understand what her father meant about humans. The mission was supposed to be simple. 3 refugee ships needed to cross through contested space. The hegemony had been raiding civilian vessels, capturing members of species they claimed as their subjects. They wanted to rebuild their empire one prisoner at a time. The refugees were running from that fate. The adamant vigil would escort them through the danger zone. In and out. 2 days of travel. Easy money. Nothing was ever easy. Kira stood on the bridge, watching the stars through the main viewport. She had been on the ship for 3 weeks now. She had a place. She had a purpose. She helped wherever she could, and the crew had stopped looking at her like a stranger. But today, something felt wrong. The space around them was too quiet, too empty. "Captain," Santa said from her station. "Sensors are picking up something strange. Energy signatures at the edge of our range." Cole leaned forward in his chair. "What kind of signatures?" "Military. 3 contacts. They are hiding behind that asteroid cluster, but their engines are giving them away." Cole's face went hard. "Hegemony?" "Most likely." The bridge went silent. Everyone knew what this meant. The hegemony did not send 3 ships for a simple patrol. 3 ships meant an ambush. 3 ships meant they knew the convoy was coming. "Battle stations," Cole said quietly. "All hands." The alarms began to wail. Kira pressed herself against the wall, staying out of the way. Her heart was pounding. She had never been in a real battle before. She had only heard stories. The refugee ships were behind them, slow and unarmed. 2,000 people, fleeing from everything they had known. Families, children, old ones who could barely walk. They had trusted the vigil to protect them. "They are moving," Santos reported. 3 interceptors. Heavy class. They are faster than us and better armed. "I know," Cole said. His voice was calm, but Kira could see the tension in his shoulders. "All weapons online. Shields to maximum. We hold the line until the convoy reaches the jump point." "Captain, we cannot fight 3 heavy interceptors. We will not survive. Then we will buy them time." Cole's eyes were cold and steady. "That is what we do." The first missiles came screaming out of the dark. The vigil shook as the shields absorbed the impact. Kira grabbed a support rail to keep from falling. The lights flickered. Somewhere below, she heard Reyes shouting orders to his engineering team. "Return fire," Cole commanded. The ship's guns blazed. Kira watched the tracers arc through the void, bright lines of light against the endless black. One of them hit an interceptor, but the enemy shields held. "Minimal damage," Santos reported. "They are too well armored." The battle became a desperate dance. The vigil twisted and turned, dodging missiles and returning fire. Cole was a skilled pilot, but the odds were against them. 3 against 1. Heavy ships against a battered cruiser. "Shields at 60%, Reyes called over the intercom. "We cannot take many more hits." Kira watched through the viewport as another missile exploded against their shields. The ship groaned. Metal screamed. Someone on the bridge cursed. She felt useless. She was small and young and had no training. What could she do in a battle like this? What could a homeless Dragonling offer against warships? Then she remembered something. Her father had told her stories about the old days, before the Dralith had starships. Her ancestors had been creatures of the void. They had flown between worlds using only their wings and their fire. They had navigated by the heat of stars and the cold of empty space. The Dralith could see things other species could not. Heat patterns, energy flows, the invisible currents that ran through space like rivers through a forest. Kira closed her eyes and reached for that ancient sense. It was buried deep inside her, sleeping. She had never used it for anything important. But maybe, just maybe, it could help now. When she opened her eyes, the world had changed. She could see the enemy ships differently now. Not just their hulls and weapons, but the heat of their engines. The flow of power through their systems. The weak points in their shields where the energy was thin. "Captain," she said. Her voice was small, but Cole heard her. "Not now, Kira." "Captain, please listen." She stepped forward, her father's jacket hanging loose around her shoulders. "I can see them. I can see how they move. There is a weak point on the lead ship, starboard side, near the engine. The shield generator is overheating. If you hit it there, you can't break through." Cole looked at her. For a moment, she thought he would ignore her. She was just a child. What did she know about space battles? But Cole had known her father, and her father had been the best pilot in the fleet. "Show me," he said. Kira pointed. "There. The thermal signature is different. The shields are pulling power from other systems to keep the weapons running. That means the generator is working too hard. One good hit, and it will fail." Santos checked her instruments. Her eyes widened. "She is right," Santos said slowly. "I can see it now. The readings are unusual in that sector." Cole did not hesitate. "Target that position. Fire everything we have." The Vigil's guns roared. Every weapon on the ship fired at once, a storm of energy and metal focused on a single point. The lead interceptor tried to turn, tried to evade, but it was too slow. The missiles hit. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the enemy ship's shields flickered and died. The next volley punched through the hull. Fire bloomed in the darkness, silent and terrible. One ship down. Direct hit. Santos shouted. "Lead interceptor is disabled." But there was no time to celebrate. The other two ships were closing fast, furious at the loss of their leader. Missiles streaked toward the Vigil from both directions. Kira kept watching. She called out torpedo trajectories before the sensors registered them. She spotted patterns in the enemy movements, predicting where they would be half a second before they got there. She was not a soldier. She was not a pilot. But she could see. And seeing was enough. "Hard port," she yelled. "Now!" Cole obeyed without thinking. The Vigil banked hard, and a torpedo that should have hit their engine room screamed past, missing by meters. "Another weak point," Kira said, pointing at the second ship. "Same problem. They all have the same flaw. Hit them before they can adjust." The Vigil fired again. Another interceptor's shields failed. Another explosion lit up the void. 2 down. One left. The final enemy ship stopped advancing. It hung in space, engines glowing, weapons hot but silent. Then transmission came through. A face appeared on the screen. A hegemony officer, cold and proud. His scales were dark red, his eyes yellow and filled with contempt. "Terran vessel," he said. "You have fought well, but this is not over. Surrender the refugees, and we will let you live." Cole stood up from his chair. "No, you cannot win. We have more ships coming. You are alone." "We are not alone." Cole's voice was iron. "We have something you do not." Kira stepped forward before she knew what she was doing. The enemy officer saw her and sneered. "A Dragonling? You bring children to fight your battles?" Kira looked at him. She remembered her father's face. She remembered the hunters who had killed him. She remembered hiding in a closet, listening to him die. She spoke in Old Dralith, the language of her ancestors, the language of challenge and blood and fire. "I am Kira, daughter of Vithos Kirshen, who you call Drake. My father stood against your empire when you thought you were invincible. Your hunters killed him in the dark because they were too afraid to face him in the light. I remember their faces. I remember their names. And I will remember yours." The enemy officer's face went pale. He knew the name. Everyone in the hegemony knew the name of the dragon who had defied them. "Now go," Kira said. "Tell your masters that Drake's daughter is flying with humans. Tell them we are not afraid. Tell them we remember." The transmission cut off. The last interceptor turned and fled into the darkness. On the bridge of the Adamant Vigil, no one spoke. Then Reyes started laughing. It was a rough, surprised sound, but it was real. "Did that really just happen?" he asked. "Did a 12-year-old Dragonling just scare off a hegemony warship?" Kira's legs were shaking. The fear she had pushed down was coming back now, flooding through her like cold water. She had just threatened an enemy officer. She had just spoken like a war chief. Cole put his hand on her shoulder. "Your father would be proud," he said quietly. Kira leaned against him, too tired to stand on her own. Behind them, the refugee convoy reached the jump point and vanished into safety. They had won. The Adamant Vigil limped into port 3 days later. The ship was wounded. Scorch marks covered the hull. 2 of the gun turrets were destroyed. The shields needed complete replacement. Reyes said it would take weeks to repair everything. Maybe months, but they were alive. All of them. And the refugees were safe. Word of the battle had spread fast. By the time they docked at Meridian Station, people were already talking about the human ship that had faced 3 hegemony interceptors and won. They were talking about the captain who refused to surrender. They were talking about the Dragonling who spoke like a war chief and made an enemy officer flee in fear that Kira did not know how to handle the attention. She was not used to people looking at her with respect instead of disgust. She was not used to smiles instead of kicks. "You will get used to it," Santos told her. The lieutenant was different now. The hard edges in her voice had softened. "Fame is strange, but it passes. What matters is what you do next." Kira thought about that for a long time. The repairs took 2 weeks. During that time, Kira worked alongside the crew, helping where she could. She carried tools for Reyes. She helped Santos with the navigation calculations. She learned how to read the ship's sensors, how to interpret the data they showed. She was still small, still young, but she was learning. On the last day of repairs, Cole called her to his office. It was a small room near the bridge, filled with old books and star charts. Cole sat behind a wooden desk that looked ancient. Kira had never seen real wood before she came aboard the Vigil. "Sit down," Cole said, pointing to a chair across from him. Kira sat. Her father's jacket was still too big for her, but she had started to grow into it. Another month, maybe 2, and it would fit properly. "I have been thinking," Cole said slowly, "about what to do with you." Kira's stomach tightened. She had been waiting for this moment. The moment when Cole realized she was too much trouble. The moment when he decided to leave her at the next station and fly away. "I understand," she said quietly. "You have done more than enough. I will not make problems when you, Kira." Cole raised his hand. "Stop. Let me finish." She fell silent. Cole opened a drawer in his desk and pulled out a small box. He set it on the table between them. "Open it," he said. Kira reached forward with trembling hands. The box was old, made of dark metal. She lifted the lid. Inside, resting on faded cloth, was a pin. It was shaped like a flame, bright orange and gold, with tiny scales worked into the metal. It was beautiful. "That was your father's," Cole said. "He wore it every day. It was given to him when he officially joined the crew at Caldera. It meant he was one of us. Not a passenger. Not a guest. A crew member." Kira stared at the pin, her vision blurred with tears. "I am offering you the same thing," Cole continued. "Not charity. Not pity. A job. A place on this ship. Junior navigator. You will learn how to read the stars, how to plot courses, how to guide the ship through the void. He paused. It is hard work. You will make mistakes, but you will learn, and you will be part of something. Kira could not speak. Her throat was too tight. This is your choice, Cole said gently. I will not force you. If you want to leave, I will give you credits and supplies and wish you well. But if you want to stay, if you want to be part of this crew, then that pen is yours. Kira picked up the pen. It was warm in her hands, like it had been waiting for her. She traced the tiny scales with her claw, feeling the craftsmanship. Her father had worn this. Her father had earned this. And now Cole was giving it to her. Yes, she whispered. I want to stay. Cole smiled. It was a real smile, the kind that reached his eyes. Then welcome to the crew, Navigator Kira. That evening, the whole crew gathered in the mess hall for a celebration. Reyes had found a bottle of something old and expensive, and everyone got a small cup. Even Kira, though hers was mixed with sweet juice. Santos raised her cup first. To the Vigil, may she keep flying for another 100 years. To the Vigil, everyone echoed. Then Reyes stood up. He was not a man who talked much, but tonight he had something to say. I owe someone an apology, he said gruffly. When Kira first came aboard, I blamed her for things that were not her fault. I was angry at the wrong person. He looked at Kira. Your father was a hero, and you are proving that you are his daughter. I am proud to serve with you. He raised his cup toward her. Kira felt tears on her cheeks again. She did not try to hide them this time. Thank you, she said. All of you. I did not think I would ever have a family again. I thought that part of my life was over. But you showed me I was wrong. Cole stood up. He pulled something from his pocket and walked toward her. It was the flame pen, the one from the box. This belongs to you now, he said. Wear it with pride. He pinned it to her jacket, right next to her father's name. It gleamed in the light. Kira touched it gently. She thought about everything that had happened. The cold corridors of Veth Station. The hunger and the loneliness. The kick from the dock worker. And then Cole, appearing like a ghost from her father's past, offering her food and shelter, and hope. She thought about her father's message on the HOLO-chip. Find the humans. They will show you what I could not. He had been right. The humans had shown her that kindness still existed. That family could be found, not just born. That hope was not foolish, even when the odds were against you. I have something to add, Kira said, to my father's message. He told me to find the humans. He told me they would teach me about hope and loyalty and love. She looked around at the faces of her crew, her family. He was right. They did. She pulled the holochip from her pocket. She had watched the recording dozens of times now. She knew every word by heart. But I want to add something, she said. For anyone who might find this chip someday, for anyone who is lost and afraid and alone, like I was. She activated the chip's recording function. A small light glowed red. I found them, Father, she said, her voice steady. They are exactly like you said. They are loud and messy, and they do not live very long. But they do not give up. They do not stop hoping. And they took me in when I had nothing and no one. She looked at Cole, at Reyes, at Santos, at all the humans who had become her family. If you are listening to this, she continued, if you are lost and afraid, do not give up. There are good people in the galaxy. There are ships that will take you in and crews that will become your family. You just have to be brave enough to reach for them. She turned off the recording. The mess hall was silent. Everyone was looking at her with soft eyes. Then Reyes started clapping. One by one, the others joined in. The sound filled the room, warm and real. Kira smiled. Her scales were starting to shine again, black and bright like polished stone. Her wings felt stronger. She felt stronger. Later that night, she stood on the bridge alone. The ship was quiet. Most of the crew was sleeping. Through the viewport, she could see a million stars, scattered across the void like scattered fire. She touched the pin on her chest. Then she touched her father's name, stitched into the jacket she wore. "I miss you," she said softly. "I will always miss you. But I'm okay now. I have a ship. I have a crew. I have a place where I belong." The stars did not answer, but Kira felt something warm in her chest. Like an echo of a hug she barely remembered. She was not alone anymore. She was home. The Adamant. Vigil broke orbit the next morning, leaving Marine Station behind. Kira stood at the navigation console, learning how to read the charts. Cole stood beside her, pointing out the different stars and explaining what they meant. "That one is Caldera," he said, indicating a distant yellow sun. "Where your father and I fought together. Where he saved my life." Kira nodded. She would visit it someday. She would see the place where her father became a legend, but not today. Today, she had a job to do, a course to plot, a family to fly with. The ship jumped into faster-than-light travel, and the stars stretched into lines of light. Somewhere in the void, the spirit of a dragon who chose humanity watched his daughter rise, and he smiled.